So, the DC Universe streaming app has now arrived and is available for purchase online. Is it a good deal? Yes. Let me tell you, this bad boy has a lot of good, classic, wholesome family entertainment. A lot of Superman the Animated Series, a lot of Batman the Animated Series, Static Shock, Lois and Clark. This thing's just swimming in great TV shows and movies. And you know what? I kind of figured we should start a little bit of a tradition down here in Franchise Wars. Every time there's a major holiday where I can find multiple episodes that kind of tie into the holiday's theme, I will make a video making some recommendations, just for fun, not ranking them or anything like that, because that could go a little bit badly, but just fun little episodes from single series that fit the overall theme of the holiday. Now, for the record, if we're doing Halloween this time, and we are, then we're not going to talk about the most obvious one, which is Constantine the animated... not that. Constantine the TV show. Because, quite frankly, you can just probably pull up a random episode and be fine there. No, these are going to be very specific single episodes of about 5 or so different TV shows, all of which will put you in the mood for a spooky good Halloween. Let's start off with a good appetizer.
You can't kill a dead man. The guilty must be punished for their crimes.
DC's Showcase The Spectre is a nice little treat that's only about 10 minutes long, but is still well worth your time. When you're on the DC Universe app, track down Superman, Shazam, The Return of Black Adam, and you'll find every single one of the DC Showcase shorts, including The Spectre. Do you like The Twilight Zone? Do you like macabre horror? Do you like old-fashioned grindhouse movies? Because that's what this is. Animated as though it were actually made on ancient film from the 1970s, The Spectre is a great, creepy, and haunting little tale about the spirit of vengeance as he solves a murder and brings terrifyingly brutal karmic justice upon the perpetrators. One part surreal horror, one part crime noir, you'll enjoy some beautifully disgusting deaths. It's only about 10 minutes long, but it's well worth your investment. That's a good appetizer for a horror week. But you know what? Let's move on to some part of the actual meal itself now. Let's start off with a little bit of cheese from Batman Brave and the Bold.
This dark hunger within me. As much as I try, I can't suppress it. So instead, I'll feed it, and I know just where to find a more satisfying meal.
Found in the 3rd episode of Season 3 of Batman Brave and the Bold, this one's more of a fun, and yes, cheesy homage to the old Universal and Hammer horror films than a genuinely scary episode. But still, Vampire Batman is pretty dang creepy. And to be honest, so are the other vampirized superheroes. It's actually, kind of weird how this family-friendly cartoon is probably one of the darkest and most, upfront about the fact that he's sucking people's blood out in the entire thing. Holy crud. They tear a guy apart in this thing, man. It's freaking me out. Ah! But it's okay. Don't worry. Dietrich Bader and everybody else is a grand old time, and this is a good mix of some comedy, a little bit of minor scares, and some good action, too. Enjoy.
Great. Look, the NYPD will do its best, but the thief is obviously long gone.
Let's not rush to judgment. Mediocrity such as this is never far from harm.
Freeze! Up the sword! Down on the ground!
Still, harm should be grateful. Harm did need the words. Abanen, a full Beowulf.
This one's for those who want to see how superheroines would tackle your average implacable and, laced with sexism slasher villain. You also get to experience the comic book awesomeness of Peter Allen David and his genre-savvy writing style. Though honestly, what makes this a decent Halloween episode isn't so much the main villain and harm, but rather the secret that is his little sister, Secret. If you enjoyed this episode, I would recommend tracking down the original run of Young Justice comics and actually finding Harm's and Secret's original stories. Seriously, they're very, very, very good. And honestly, we probably should have had a lot more of those Young Justice comics by Peter Allen David than some of the successors to Jeff Johns' Teen Titans run.
And now for something Lovecraftian.
As shadows fall at twilight, so shall we spread across the land. Go now, go forth and spread unity.
Lovecraftian horror is always probably one of the more grotesque and freaky types of horror. And Superman the Animated Series was never afraid to occasionally reference it or deep dive into it when it suited them. So here we get to see one of the Supergirl starring episodes of Superman the Animated Series dealing with its own version of an old one, with a, quite frankly, nausea-inducing villainy of the Unity. This episode comes highly recommended. Just, don't watch it while eating. Just don't, okay? So now we get the last of these little selections. So now we come to the very last one I've chosen for this video. And to be honest, this is the show that actually inspired the creation of this list. You see, way back when, I remember being a little kid watching this particular episode of Batman Beyond and kind of freaking out at the implications.
Bill!
Oh my God. Tony?
You left me buried.
I thought you were dead.
No. Didn't want partner.
That's not true. There was nothing I could do for you, nothing. But there was Jackie. I took care of her like she was my own daughter. Isn't that what you would have wanted?
You stole her.
You want to kill me? Go ahead. I've got a lot to answer for, but for God's sakes, let Jackie go.
She stays and you die.
This is such a creepy episode. I mean, it kind of feels like the guys making the show were out one night and John Carpenter sat down next to them and decided to shoot the breeze and share some of his terrifying imagination with them. This episode is really, really atmospheric, in an already pretty atmospheric series, and takes its time with suspense and with the reveals to make sure that you know why you should be going to bed probably a little restless that night. It also does include probably one of the most A, horrifying, and B, tragic origin stories for a Batman villain, not just here, but in the entire franchise. It'll keep you up at night. This really is comparable to John Carpenter's The Fog. And honestly, considering this is only a one-shot story where this bad guy shows up only once, it's still probably one of the most effective episodes of the series. So that wraps up this episode of Franchise Wars. We're not just going to leave DCU done right here. We're actually going to come back in a few weeks and tackle the first premiere of that series, Titans, and we'll see if it's actually worth your time or not. Here's hoping it is. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you like more of our content, check us out. We've got a podcast on iTunes, and we do have our own Tumblr page. Just type in Franchise Wars. Thank you.